So this is the Bailey Jive caravan. It's going to take you around the caravan and show you how it operates. Front of the van, you've got your jockey wheel, hitch and handbrake. We'll demonstrate these to you in person here on site and show you how they work. Coming down the side of the van, normally you'd have wind down legs on most caravans. This is electric auto legs on here, so we'll show you again once you go inside the caravan how these work, and I'll show you them again when you're here on site. Water pump connection is very straightforward. Pull back the blue trigger and release it from the side of the caravan, and then you push in and lock the pipe in place, releasing the blue trigger. Pickup pipe drops down inside the act roll, and you do need to make sure this act roll is completely full prior to turning the water system on. That water system isn't, or if the barrel isn't completely full, it will draw air up into the water system, which could cause an airlock inside of the caravan. Truma heating and hot water flow, very simply there to allow the heating system to breathe, so you don't need to do anything with this, but essentially don't cover it up because it does allow anything from the heating system to come back out of the van. Next up, we have the gas locker with your gas regulator on the bulkhead here, or on the side of the van, sorry. You then have gas open and gas close on top of the bottle, like you would on most bottles. So you open up the gas valve completely prior to trying to ignite anything inside the caravan. And before you travel, you make sure this valve is completely closed again by turning it back the opposite way. I'll leave that open so when you arrive on site, you can ignite anything you want inside of the caravan. Can carry a maximum of 2 bottles inside on this side of the van, and it's a maximum of 2 6-kilogram propane gas bottles. The motor mover will demonstrate shortly in the video so you can see how that works, and while you're here we do advise you have a go with this so you can see how it operates yourselves. You've then got your 2 pickup pipes from down the side of the waste pipe, from down the side of the caravan. So you have 2 bits of grey pipe that drop down inside the waste master, and this allows the waste water out that's been through the fresh water system on the caravan. Toilet flush tank, put your key in, open it up and drop the flap down, and you put 3.5 litres of water in here and a cap full of the pink fluid prior to use. In the bottom you have the toilet waste cassette. You release the cassette and pull the cassette out. You've got the orange neck here that turns out 90 degrees, tip the waste away. You've got a grey cap here for your measure for your pink and your blue fluid. So you put 1 litre of water in here and a cap full of the blue fluid prior to use. And on the back of the cassette you've got an orange pressure relief button, so when you're tipping the waste away it doesn't spit and splatter back at you. So again, on the back of the van you've got your legs, which again we'll demonstrate in a moment due to the fact they're auto legs. Then coming towards the front of the caravan, you've got your heating, your fridge flues. Essentially they are just there to allow the hot air at the back of the fridge unit. And then you've got your gas flue on the top right hand side here for when the fridge is running on gas. Again, we'll show you how to ignite that once we go inside the caravan. Coming down the front of the caravan, you've got your connection for the mains power, very simply pushed into the side of the van. The blue cap, you'll notice, actually sits just down inside here as well, so you need to flick that blue cap up, then push the connection in, and you need to pull it straight back out to release the connection. Locker here is the storage locker for underneath the front seating area, but in there you've also got the motor mover powers, which we'll demonstrate in a moment. And then you've got a 3-pin socket to have power out to your awning, and a barbecue gas point connection as well, so you can connect a barbecue to the outside of the van. So, with the self-leveling, you've got a control panel just inside the door here. Tap the screen, and it'll wake up. You need to go to the automatic, and then to put the legs up, you'll press the up button just here, and then you'll come outside the van. Never go inside the van at this point. Always make sure you're on the outside of the caravan when it's doing this. When you actually put the legs down, so to stabilise the caravan and to level it, you always need to make sure the front end of the caravan is lower than the back of the caravan. So just take you around the van as it's doing that. As you'll see, the legs are coming up at the front. The rams in the centre, which you can just about see underneath the van there, will then start coming up on either side. And then the rear legs will also start coming up at that point as well. But like I said, you never go in the caravan while this is doing its operation, whether the legs are going down or coming up. You always stay on the outside of the van. That's just going through its final piece of putting the centre hydraulic rams up. Once it stopped making a noise, you can go back inside the van. But to put the legs down, you'll very simply hit the auto button just here. If you need to stop it for any reason, you hit the stop button there. But this control panel also comes out, as you can see. So if you want to stand on the outside with the control panel, you can also do it outside the van. It does actually charge in that holder also. So to charge it, you would need to have it in here. As you can now see, all the legs on the van, centre rams first here, are coming down to the ground. They'll actually start picking the van up in a moment. And the front legs will also come down any second now. That with the front legs coming down, as you can see there, on the left hand side of the screen. Then we'll start levelling the van out front to back. Then the second ram on the left hand side here will start coming down. And once it's levelled out side to side, you should start seeing the rear rams or the rear legs starting to fold themselves down. Now the van stopped making all noise, so we can now go onto the inside of the caravan and show you how the inside operates. So as you come in the door, on the right hand side, you're first of all going to see your main control panel for the caravan. So you've got your main power on and off on this switch just here. You've got your voltmeter for the battery on board the caravan at the top here. You've got your water pump switch on and off, which I'll come back to in a moment. You've then got your interior lights on and off, and your awning light for the outside of the caravan on and off. First thing we're always going to do is fill the water system up. So you're going to need to make sure the mains power is turned on at this point as well, underneath the seat on the left hand side front of the caravan. And if all the trip switches are up on this control panel, on the top part of the control panel there, it means the mains power is turned on. If you wanted to check the mains power is coming to the caravan, hit the test switch on the top right hand side trip switch, and if that blue switch on that side drops down into the down position, it means it has mains power coming into the caravan. If it stays in the upright position, it means there is no mains power coming into the caravan. Down the bottom there, you've also got your 12 volt fuses for the 12 volt systems on board the caravan, and each of those is individually marked what they're for, and it will also tell you at the top there what fuse should be in each connection. So now we know the mains power is turned on, we can come underneath the seat on the opposite side. Normally easier just to fold this section up here at the end and then go underneath the seat, and underneath this seat you'll find a yellow drain down valve. So to fill the water system up, that valve needs to be flat with the floor as it is at the moment. To drain the system, you need to have it upright and pointing towards the bottom of the seat. So with the valve flat with the floor, we can then come over to every tap on board the caravan and open all the taps up on the hot side of the water system. So let the pressure run away there for a second. When you are done using the caravan, like I said, you should drain it down completely, and what you do is you put all these taps into the central position, have them completely open, and then the yellow valve open underneath the seat so it allows the water system to drain completely. You'd also put the shower head so it is down on the floor in the caravan, and again open up the tap on the shower. Once you're ready to fill it, come over to your control panel, and you'll see when I turn this switch on, the green light will appear here to say the water pump is running. The water system then will start filling up. When you initially turn it on, it's actually going to be a bit like when the water has been off at home, so it will spit and splatter out the tap because the system's completely empty. I've pre-filled the system just so it doesn't take so long in the video for you, but essentially, as you can see, the water's now running continuously, and at that point, when it's through all the taps continuously, we can shut all the taps back off and start thinking about warming the water on board the van. So that's where the control panel up on the wall here comes in. So I'm just going to wait for the camera to clear up a second. So the first icon you see flashing here is actually the room temperature for the caravan. So you hit the central button at the bottom here, and then you use the dial at the bottom here to spin right or left to control the room temperature. To set the room temperature, you'll essentially press the central button again, and then you'll have a flame symbol at the top here that indicates it is warming up. If you want to turn on the water temperature, you'll spin this dial at the bottom when you've got the motorhome icon on the top left hand side here flashing to the right hand side. And if it goes to that screen it was just on, like this, you essentially press the central button and it'll take you into these options. So you'll spin the dial to the right, and you've got the option of eco, hot or boost for the water system. So to set any of these, so essentially the eco is just so it ticks over nice and low, so it keeps the water warm. Hot is so it keeps the water hot. And boost is when you're showering on board the caravan. So we're going to set it to boost, so when you arrive on site, the water's already warm in the tank on board the caravan, so you can see that is working. We're then going to come across to the power supply that we want to use for the heating and hot water. So you've got several different options in here. You've got gas on its own, so to set the gas, you need to make sure the gas bottle's turned on the outside, as we've done. Hit the central button and it will self-ignite on gas. If it fails to ignite, it will actually come up with a gas failure on the screen. Mix 1 is a combination of gas and electric at the same time, and that is 1000 watts of electric and gas at the same time. Mix 2 is 2000 watts of electric coming into the caravan and gas at the same time. Electric 1 is 1000 watts of electric coming into the caravan on its own, and electric 2 is 2000 watts of power coming into the caravan on its own. So we're going to set electric 1. What I mean by the amount of power coming into the caravan is the amount of power the site you are on is supplying to your caravan. Now, if you're not sure what this is, please ask the site office when you arrive on your holiday, and they should be able to advise you of what that power supply is coming into the caravan. The end symbol you see here on the end is the blown air system. So it's a bit like what you have in your car, for instance, your fans. So you've got eco or high, and you can set the eco option, for instance, and then essentially it will start blowing the hot air from the heating system around the caravan from these vents. If you go onto the high, obviously the fan speed will be a lot higher. Do be advised though, when you are trying to warm the heating up, with the blown air on, it will take a lot longer for the system to work, but it will automatically come on. So just bear in mind when you are heating the van that it could take longer just due to the fact it has blown air on this fan than it would if there was no blown air. Down the bottom of this panel, you probably saw there's some extra symbols. For these, we do advise you read the manual that comes with the caravan. The reason for this is you have timers for your heating and hot water, you have the option to set the clock, and you have some advanced options on the end here. And we don't really necessarily advise playing with these unless you understand how they work. The microwave on the other side of the caravan, very simple to use. Works like a household, so you've got 30-second start there, for instance. And as you can hear, can't quite see through the screen on this one because it's so shiny, but you can actually hear it is working as it should. Please again have a go with that so you know it is working while you're here on site. One thing to remember, remove the microwave plates before you travel. Next up we're going to go to the fridge. Now the fridge is very simple to use. So you can run it in 3 different ways. Off position at the top here. You've then got 240 mains when you're on a mains powered site, and you can control the temperature of the fridge on this dial on the right hand side. You then have the option to run a 12 volt. 12 volt is essentially the 12 volt supply from the car you are towing with. It is not the 12 volt supply from the battery underneath this panel in the floor in the caravan. So if you don't have the right connection on your car, the fridge will not operate as a call box while you're travelling, and it will also not allow you to charge the battery on board the caravan whilst you're travelling. To operate the fridge on gas, if you're off grid, you spin the dial to the bottom here, press in the temperature control and hit the igniter at the same time. The pilot light for this isn't actually a pilot light, it's actually a line. So on this panel on the opposite side of the fridge, you actually see there's an orange line here, and when it ignites on gas, that orange line is going to come into the green, and hopefully, when I do this in a second, I'll be able to show you how that ends up. So you'll actually see now that line is starting to move into the green. Once that line is in the green, you can stop hitting the igniter, but we do advise for a further 5 to 10 seconds you keep hold of the gas valve on the temperature control. I do advise you have it on high to get it running initially. When I release this, it's more than likely going to go out on the first try. So potentially that line could start dropping back down into the white, which just indicates it has failed to ignite and you might need to go through the process again. We do advise roughly that you hold this button for 5 to 10 seconds to allow it to warm up the thermocouple. To turn it back off the gas, you spin it to one of the other power sources or the off position at the top here. Hob works very much like your household hob, no difference at all there. I'm just going to show you that ignited. The electric ring will only work when you're on 240 mains, as you'll see in a second. Let me just put this down. be able to see the hob lid there. There we go, so that's your hob all ignited and working as it should. The electric ring's a little bit hard to show you, but if you turn it on and turn the dial, it should allow you to feel the heat coming up through that. Just going to show you the grill. Assuming that is the grill. And that is the hob, the grill. Then in the bottom here, as you can see, cooker is ignited as well. One thing to remember is, if you've had the hob lit, don't shut the glass top down straight away because it could potentially smash. Coming into the bathroom now, you have an electric flush on the toilet. We have a red indicator light here that illuminates red when the toilet waste cassette is completely full. The toilet seat itself actually turns for your convenience, as you can see. However, when you're removing the toilet waste cassette from the side of the caravan, you need to make sure it's in this central position. And the grey waste flap between below the toilet is in the closed position when it's in the centre here. And when you push it across to the far side, it allows the toilet waste into the cassette underneath the caravan. You need to make sure that is closed again when you are removing that toilet waste cassette, as it can potentially break the toilet waste cassette when you try to remove it if it is open. I am now going to go onto the outside of the caravan and just show you how to engage and operate the motor mover. So you're going to need the motor mover engagement bar that you see here. On the side of the van, see there's a little fitment just here where it fits onto. So that bar will go on the side there. We'll then pull it over and lock it in place. I'm just going to put the camera down for a second. And lock it in place. You'll then just check the other side is engaged as well. Which, as you can see, it is, so it does both sides at the same time. You do need to remember to fully disengage this before you travel down the road. You'll then come into the locker on the front left hand side of the caravan, and in this locker you have your motor mover power switch. Now it has two positions. Off is when it's out, push it in, push the switch in and turn it 90 degrees so it's pointing downwards. That is then the power going to the motor mover from the battery on board the caravan to the motor mover. You'll then get the control from the inside of the caravan, and then two green buttons to turn the controller on. Once the green light is on this side, you'll be able to forward, backwards, turn, 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 and turn. Again, while you're here on site, I do advise that you have a go with this and put the legs up, disconnect the power from the side of the caravan, and then move the caravan backwards and forwards. And then to turn the controller off, press the two green buttons again and release. Take hold of the motor mover engagement bar. This may bite when it comes off because of how tight it is, so I'm just going to put the camera down again for a second. Pull it up and release it from the side of the van. And then you'll turn your power back off in the side locker of the caravan also. You need to make sure you turn this off as it could potentially drain the battery if it is left on. So that is the Bailey Jive titanium, as you can see. Thank you for choosing the caravan company to purchase a caravan with, and we look forward to seeing you here on site soon. Thanks again. Bye bye.